Hi everyone, Heather here. Today we're going to color with some Copic markers, and I'm going to get my inspiration from this My Mind's Eye Lime Twist paper pad. It's got some really cute papers in there, and I like that it's double-sided, so you can get lots of different card ideas just from this one little paper pad. And today we're going to be coloring Rockin' Tilda. She's a Magnolia image from the new Sweet Rainbow collection. So I always start with her skin first, and I color dark to light. It's just personal preference for me. You can color however you would like, but this is how I do it. So I'm going to start with E21, and I'm going to shadow her legs. And because it was such a small area, I'm not going to use the three zeros on there. I'm just going to use these two. So again, I'll start with E21. And I kind of flick my color that I just laid down into the area that's still white. Okay, then I'm going to move up to her arm, and I'm going to run a little E21 right down her sleeve, and then I'm going to get the underside of her arm, so I'll just flick a little bit along the edge here. And then I'm going to indent her thumb a little bit. And then I'll switch to E20, and again flick from E21 up into my white. And then I'll do E30 to finish her off on this side. And then I'm going to move to the other arm, and I'll do the same thing on this side. I'm going to go with E21 down her sleeve, and then I'm going to flick along the bottom of her arm to give it some shadow. And I'll give her thumb some definition right here. And then I'll switch to E20. And then I'll switch to E with 3 zeros. Alright, and now I'm going to move on to her neck. So I'm going to do a little line right underneath of her chin. Over here on the side where her shirt is. And then I'm going to blend that down a little bit by flicking E20. And again, there wasn't enough room for the 3 zeros, so I'm just going to leave it out. And then I'm going to switch back to E21. I'm going to do her face, and her hair has some bangs up here and it has some forehead, so I usually do that first. So I'll flick a little bit of color up into the spaces where her forehead shows through. And then I'm just going to outline her face with E21. Okay, now I'm going to switch to E with 2 zeros, and I'm going to flick my E21 out into her face with my E with 2 zeros. And then I'm going to use some E000. Okay, and then I'm going to add some cheek color with R20 and R30. So I'm going to start with R20, and I'm going to add a little bit here along the side. And let's get this side. Okay, and then I use R30 to blend that in a little bit. And I'm flicking from the R20 out onto her skin tone. Okay, and then I'm going to go back over her cheeks with E20. And I'm going to fill it in with E30. But now I'm going to move on to her hair, and I'm going to use E43, E42, and E41. And I'm going to start with E43. And again, I'm just going to flick my color from her bangs right here. I'm just going to start at the bangs. I'm going to flick a little bit up into her hair. And then I go down from the crown of her head. And then I'm going to add some E42. And I'm going over the E43 and just pushing it up into my white space so I can blend that edge just a little bit. Then I'll come down from the crown. And then I'm going to fill it in with E41. Okay, then we'll go get her pigtails. So we'll start again with E43. And she's got a little scrunchie right here, so I'm going to go add a little bit of dark shading where her scrunchie is. And on this side. And then I'm going to get down here where it touches her hair. It's going to be darker down in here. And then I'm going to get a few little, here's a little scrunchie right here, so I'm going to get on the bottom and the top of that. And then I'm going to add a little space where it kind of looks like it dips in right here. I'm going to add a little bit of dark right there. And then it looks like it kind of dips in right here, so I'm going to give that a little bit of dark. Okay, and then the same thing for this side. Again, we'll get on one side of our scrunchie and get this side. And then I'm going to get down here on the bottom where it's going to be, looks like it may be a little darker. And then we'll get on this side of the scrunchie. Okay, and it looks like it dips in right here, so we're going to get a little bit of dark in there. And then here's another dip. Okay, and then I'm going to start with E42. And again, I'll brush over E43 and add this color on top of it. And we'll get this side. Okay, and then I'm going to fill it in with E41. And that's our hair.